is a Global Tel Link prepaid call from
Jane.
an inmate at Southern Correctional Institution. This call will be monitored and recorded for customer assistance, collection, or complaint procedures, or to thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Hey.
How are you, James? Welcome back.
Welcome back
Thank
to
you.
Inmate Tea with A&P.
Today, James, we talked about so much last episode to the point where me and April felt like we could survive. Maybe not, but we know what to do if we ever landed in prison. But can you walk us through the very first day when you stepped foot into prison? What happened? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What is happening?
What are you feeling?
What are you feeling?
In all the moments.
So walk us through it.
Okay. My very first day in prison, I had just lost trial. It was August the 29th, 2008.
How old are you?
And I'm 24 years old. I had been locked up since I was 22. At the time, I got locked up at 22. I stayed in the county 2.5 years, and I went to trial at 24.
Okay.
So at this point, you had
And-
never been to prison. You've only been in jail.
Yeah, I had never been to prison.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Okay.
I had never been to a maximum custody prison, where they got death row, where the most notorious people in North Carolina's housed. I had never been there.
Okay.
So when I get out of the sheriff drove me from Robinson County Jail to Central Prison. When I get there, I walk into these double doors, and the doors slam behind me. I'm devastated, for one, because I had just got a life sentence without parole, and I really didn't know how. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. So when I walk in here, I'll step in, the door slide closed, another door open, and when I step through it, an officer tells me to step over here in this holding cell and strip down butt naked and take and put on these prison clothes.
Is there anybody
still
else
got on
coming
my
in with you, James? Is this like a bunch of people, or is just you?
No, it's just me. I processed at 11:45 at night. So when I process, it's just me. There's nobody there, nobody but me, the officer that drove me there, and the prison guard. So I go in there, I strip down, I take my street clothes off, and he tells me to turn around, hold up my genitals, and squat and cough. So I do it. He tells me to hold up my feet. He checks my feet, checks inside my mouth, and then he hands me some clothes. And he tells me to put on the clothes, and he hands me a brown box. And he tells me to fold up my clothes that I just took off from my shoes and put in the box. So I do so. I walk over to a desk, and he asks me, do I want to send my clothes home or do I want to donate? So quite naturally, I told him, I got a life sentence without parole. I'm thinking in my head, I'm never going home. I'm going to die in prison. So I tell him to donate them. I don't need them. So he
Oh my
donates them. He
gosh.
gives
How are
me,
you feeling in that moment? Like, I feel like I would be like
Devastated.
crying,
Because I mean,
nonstop.
it sounds vague, but like I'm never gonna put these clothes on again.
Exactly. And
This
that,
is it.
Yeah.
This
that
is my last
impact
moment of like street
never
clothes.
being out on the street again, never being in your home again.
yeah, I mean,
Has it hit you at this point,
moment,
or no, not yet? It didn't really hit you yet.
yeah, I mean, reality's really set in. I just had a 2-hour ride from Robinson County to Raleigh, and I know that, in my mind, I'm 24 years old, and I'm like, yo, I'm going to die in prison. I don't have no out. I don't know nothing about the law. I don't know nothing. I am absolutely ignorant to the law. So I'm going in this place, and I'm like, wow, how did I get here? So when I get him close to the man, he hands me a blanket. He gives me these tight ass pants, and I got them on. He gives me a bar of soap, and he gives me a wash rag and a towel, and he leads me down this corridor, and I go to medical. And there was this little Chinese doctor and this lady, and the lady took my weight, my vitals, checked my heart and all that, asked my age, took my height, and then I go in there to the doctor, and he asked me about my health and if I had any health issues. And then they take me out and they set me in a cage. And I'm sitting in this little cage. It's about 2.5, 3 foot wide and about 3 foot deep.
What's in there?
And
who's in there?
It's nothing. It's just a bench. You just got a steel piece that goes from each side and you're sitting on. And you're sitting there, and I sat there for hours, and there was a dude. I'll never forget this. There was a dude that was sitting there across from me.
In the same cage?
Well, there's a cage in front of my cage.
Okay.
He's in the other cage.
Okay.
And he's sitting there, and he's holding his stomach. He's like, young blood. He said, I've been down 30 years. He said, I ain't got no out. He's like, how much time you got? And I told him, I said, I just got a life sentence. He said, young blood. He said, go ahead and take care of yourself now. He said, don't stay in here and suffer like I have. And I asked him, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, man, I've been eating batteries. He said he'd take razor blades and stick in the head of his penis to go out to medical just to get out of the prison. He was going crazy. He was losing his mind because he allowed this prison to suck the life out of him. So I was sitting there, and I'm just looking at it. And I told myself, I'm like, yo, you can't be that person. You can't be like that. So I really done a lot of self-talk, and I told myself, like, yo, you can't allow prison to kill you mentally and emotionally.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Right. So you're sitting there.
I made up in my.
Go ahead.
I made up my mind that, you know, I'm going to better myself in every way.
Right.
So I'm sitting there seeing this guy suffer. So they come and get me, and they take me up to the unit.
How long were you sitting there,
when I get
James?
to
Was it hours or just a little while?
I sit there for about 4 or 5 hours. I sat in that little cage for about 4 or 5 hours.
So this is well into
And
like the early morning at this point when you're getting to you're actually going.
Yeah. When I finally get to my unit and get to my room, the cell that they locked me in, which was the old death row. They took us to the old death row. Processing was the old death row at Central Prison. So when we go in there, they had just turned this into the new processing unit from the old death row unit, where they, you know, death row was people that's condemned to death. So when I go in there, nobody's out or nothing. I go in there, I go to sleep. So the next morning, I go down to the child hall, and I come back. When I come back, I go back up to my room, and I lock down. Because the toilet, you got a toilet and everything in your room. So you can wash your face, brush your teeth, all that in the room. So I just go in there and take care of my hygiene, and I lay down for a couple hours.
Do you have all the stuff to take care of your hygiene at that point?
Well, they give you state stuff. You know,
Right.
You got state toothpaste, state toothbrush, state deodorant, all that stuff. I used what I had.
Right. But how did you know where to go eat? Did they tell you where how do you navigate? And when you come out, are there
you move in a mass movement. Like when they call it, you got 32 people in one pod. So when they call chow, you know, you just follow the leader, because you always got somebody that knows where they're going. So you just follow the next man in line, and you know, go in.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
They'll slide you a tray out, and you just take your tray and slide it down the line, and they'll put the food on.
So James,
And
this is your
you know, you just
first morning in a prison. What are you feeling? You're literally, this is your first time navigating through the prison. What's happening? What do you see? What do you feel? What's happening this early in the morning? You just got there.
I mean, you're just moving with emotion. You really ain't right at this time. I really ain't feeling nothing. I mean, you numb. You got to process all this because only thing you can think about, or I can think about at that time, is damn, I got a life sentence. I'm going to die in this place. That's all. You know, that's all that's on my mind because I'm like, yo, I don't supposed to be here.
What about
I
the
don't
other
supposed to be in this
inmates at
situation.
this moment when
Uh,
you're just in there? Are they
I
like
mean,
all approaching you and trying to talk to
And you're
you?
young.
nah, they don't. Ain't nobody talking to you. Ain't nobody. Everybody's like standoffish. They like standing back. But like I had one person, named James Jones, a really good friend of mine, and he seen me. He was like, "Hey," and he was like, "Yee." So you know, like the Native American way of calling somebody in prison. And I look around for an Indian, but it's a black guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "You from Robinson County?" Like, yeah. He's like, "I am. I'm from Laurinburg." Me and him got to talking, and come to find out we had been in the county jail. So, long story short, me and him really clicked, you know. And we went out to the canteen. I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no shower shoes. I didn't have no toothpaste, toothbrush. I didn't have nothing. They stowed all my stuff away when I come into the prison.
Pause for 2 seconds,
So
James. James, really quick. So there was no one in your cell but you, correct?
yeah, there was nobody. There was nobody in the cell
And
but me because
you're not in a
you're in a
dorm,
super
is what I'm
maximum
trying to
security
ask.
prison.
You're in actual cells, not dorm.
Yeah, you're in a cell.
And
You're in a cell.
okay, and then
You're
the
in
other
a
thing I want to clarify before we move on is clearly this prison isn't built on politics because you said this is a black guy. You're able to walk with him, or how does this work?
yeah, yeah. You know that's back then when you come into prison, it was more of an area code. You know, the gangs really didn't run prison or have a real big influence in prison when I first come to prison. Gangs didn't, you know, the politics and all that stuff really didn't come into play until like 2010, 2011.
Okay,
By
Okay.
then, I was well established in prison,
got it.
and I had made a name for myself
Okay,
because when I first come to prison, when I left Central Prison, you know, a lot of old heads, a lot of my homeboys was giving me the rundown on the situations, how things went in prison. Like I told you in my last interview about the ass bandits, about these predators. So they told me, you know, don't befriend people, don't be taking nothing from nobody. If somebody offers you something, you know, try to avoid taking anything from anybody until you get to know who you're dealing with. So when I left Central Prison, I left and I kind of had a chip on my shoulder. You know, I'm like, yo, nobody ain't going to run me over. The old heads that was at Central Prison, they kind of schooled me on how to expect stuff when I got to other facilities. And,
Okay.
you know, they was running things down. So Indians, Native Americans, which I am, they had a bad rap on state. We got a really bad rap for being violent. So when I get the Berkey, I ship out from Central Prison in October. I get the Berkey. So as soon as I walk in, there's a lieutenant there named Big. And he's like, "What's your name?" I said, "James Conley." And he looks at me. He's like, "You're from Robinson County." I said, "Yes, sir." "Why?" He's like, "I don't like y'all." I said, "You don't like who?" He said, "Y'all Indians." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because every one of y'all cause trouble." He said, I just had one to try to kill somebody. But long story short, I'm like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care. And he told me, he's like, I ain't got to kill you, but if you ain't got a knife, you need to get you a knife. He said, you fresh on state, ain't you? I said, yeah. He's like, well, you know how to make one. And I lied to him. I'm like, yeah, but in all actuality, I didn't at the time. So they give me my bag. They give me.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional
That's
facility.
pretty bad when the guard tells you
And
you
they
need to get a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, that's just how it was. If you didn't have a knife, you need to get a knife. If you didn't know how to use one, you better get one and learn how to use it.
Right.
Because everybody had one.
Okay.
So they send me upstairs to Green B block. So when I get in B block, I got a couple homeboys in there.
No, tell us when you walked into D block. What happened? You walked in. Are they guiding you in? Or are they just telling you where to go?
Walk in, okay. As soon as I walk in the block, the guys stop. They was like 4 or 5 guys. They stopped me at the door. They like, yo, you just shipping in? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what's your name and Opus number? So I tell them, my name's James Henry Conley, 0685816. They're like, man, just stand there in that yellow square, put your stuff down. Give us about 10 minutes. So I'm standing there. So while I'm standing there, I got a homeboy named Sean Galbert. He's already been there. He was in the county with me. So he's in the back playing cards. So he jumps up and he runs up there from the gambling table. And he's like, what's up, homeboy? He shakes my hand. Me and him get to talking. So while we're talking, the guys, they come back up to the front of the block. And they like, yo, bro, you good. And they already know who I am, where I come from, you know, what my charge is, and all this. So they had a cell phone. They looked me up on the cell phone.
Hmm.
So they looked me
They're
up.
looking
I
you
go
up
to my
just to
room.
see what your charge is? Is that the reasoning?
Yeah, they checked to see. Yeah, they wanted to see, you know, if I was a rat, you know, what I was in prison for. You know, they wanted to do a background check on me.
What if it had turned
So
out
after they
bad? What
do
if
the
it was something they didn't approve of? What happens then?
Where they tell you can't live in that block.
But
You can't live
that's
there.
not point. Is it your choice? Do you get to leave? You could just be like, "Hey, guard, I need to move."
Yeah, you're gonna check off. You're going to the hole. You can tell them, hey, I can't
So
live
it's
in
either you stay in that block
And deal with it.
or you have to go
Yeah,
to
or
segregation.
Either way, you stay in the block and take a chance of getting stabbed, getting beat up, or, you know, at the worst, dying, just because, you know, you don't want to leave that pod. And because, you know, back then, child molesters had it hard. Homosexuals had it hard. People that come in here that was rats, had told on somebody, they had it really hard. I mean, they couldn't live. And most of the time, they had to live, you know, in the hole, or they had to prove themselves worthy to be like in the block. You had to be able to work on radios, or you had to, you know, be industrious. And you'd work on radios pretty much for free. Somebody might bring you their radio and be like, hey, yo, they said you the radio man. And the dude would be like, yeah, I'm the radio man. And he's like, well, my radio's fucked up. You need to fix it. So he fixed the radio and give the radio back to you, or your headphones and give it back to you. If the person that you just fixed he fixed their radio for, may feel kind and give him a soup. He may give him nothing. I mean, that was like your punishment for being a child molester. That's your punishment for being a rapist or a rat. You know, that's how it was.
So these inmates took a look at your charge and they approved of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, you know, I was locked up for murder, and they knew I weren't no rat. So I go in my room.
How do you know where your room is? Do they just tell you to go to this room, or you pick a room?
Nah, the officer tells you what room you're assigned to.
Are the,
because you got a board in the sergeant's office with rooms, with your picture attached to the number of your room.
okay. And now, are these
So
rooms single rooms? Are they rooms with a cellmate? Are these open dorm? Are
yeah,
these
yeah, these are single cells.
okay?
You're in a maximum security prison.
Okay.
So I'm at this time I'm in a maximum security prison. So I go in my room, I clean my room up and get everything clean. And I'm just, I stay in my room. I really don't know nobody, so I'm trying to stay in my room.
How are you
So
feeling?
I'm, I'm, just I'm really in a state of
Survival.
trying to process. Yeah, trying to process everything. You're like, what the fuck am I? What am I got into? You know, what am I about to do? You really got to talk to yourself and be like, yo, how you gonna handle this?
Got it.
So
Yeah,
in my
I could
mind,
imagine there would be a lot of self talk
Yeah.
in those moments because not only are you processing, you just lost your life, basically.
Literally. And now you got to form this new life in here, and you don't know what to be. You're like in the wild jungle. You don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
yeah. And in my mind, I decided, yo, I'm gonna carry
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I'm gonna carry myself here the same way I carried myself on the street. I'm gonna carry myself with a respectable manner. I'm gonna respect everybody and demand they respect me. I'm not gonna bother nobody. But if they come and bother me, I'm gonna handle it. So that's how I live.
At this point,
And
James, do you know how to make a shank or a weapon, or you haven't learned yet?
I don't know nothing.
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Knives. I don't know nothing about no knives. I don't know nothing. Only knife I know about is a pocket knife, and I
Okay.
didn't have one of them. So, you know, I within a couple days, somebody taught me and started showing me how to make a knife. Old white guy from Medley, North Carolina, named Jeff Medley. He had been down 21 years at the time from a life sentence. And he walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I said, "All right." He said, "My name's Jeff." I told him, I said, "Well, they call me, my real name's James." I said, "But they call me Pig." I said, "No." I said, "What's up?" He's like, "Man, I ain't trying to come at you in no kind of crazy way." He said, "I know a lot of Indian guys. I've met some good people on state." He said, "Over my time," he said, "I'm an old head in here now." He said, "And it's my duty to, pass the knowledge that I learned from some of your people on to you." He said, "So I know you're new on state." He said, "You ain't never done no time before, have you?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well," he said, "first things first." He said, "You need to learn how to protect yourself." He said, "You know what a knife is?" I said, "Yeah, a pocket knife." He's like,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Kitchen knife.
he said, "Nah." He said, "Nah, a prison knife." And I'm like, "Nah, I don't know nothing about no prison knife." I said, "But that man that had on that white shirt the other day told me I need to get me one." He's like, "Yeah." He said, "You do." He said, You ain't no gang, do you?" I said, "Nah, I don't gang bang." I said, "I don't even know what that shit is." So he's like, "Well, that's good. Don't never get in." So he's like, "Hey, man," he said, "You smoke reefer?" I said, "Yeah, I smoke." He's like, "Well, you come," he said, "when you get a chance," he said, "step up into my room." He said, "We'll smoke a joint and I'll show you how to make you a knife." So I went up there and me and him smoked the joint.
Were you nervous to
He
go
had
up
a
there,
piece of
James?
steel.
Yeah.
Like, I would be
How
like,
do you know you can
hold
trust
up.
him?
Like, how do I know he's not gonna? I'm going in this man's cell. What if he tries to do something?
And you just told him that
Well,
you only know
you
of
know,
pocket knives?
it's like you, you know, when you first meet people, you can gauge people. It's like you have a feeling of if this person's got ill will and ill intent, or if this person's really a stand-up person.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell. It's
He
just
passed
like out there
he
in the
passed the
world.
vibe check,
Yeah,
didn't he?
you get a certain vibe about people. You know, when you go to Walmart and you meet somebody at Walmart, for the first time and you speak to them, you get a feeling of, oh, fuck, who, yeah, you're trying to get away from that person, or you can just fall into a conversation with them where it's a real smooth, easygoing conversation. You know, that's how I've survived in here.
So he taught you how to make a knife?
Yeah, he took me in there.
Well, and, can you teach me and Patricia how to make a knife one day? If we have one segment on knife making, on shank making.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
He had a piece of steel, and he pulls it out, and he showed me, you know, the techniques of how to file it down to make a knife. So while we're standing there, we smoke the joint, and he's showing me. So he gives me the piece of steel. He's like, here, man, go in your room, man. He said, lock your door, put your blind up, and, you know, work on it. He said, you're going to need that. He said, you know how to use one? And I'm like, nah. He's like, well, let me show you. So he takes the piece of steel.
That right there would have been it. I would have started hollering. That would have been it, James. Like, what are you going to show me on? What, are you going to do it to me? Like, I would have started hollering, help!
Yeah, I mean, he showed me on myself. You know, he told me, like,
what do you mean?
He said, you got to know, like, when he showed me how to hold it, and then he showed me how to protect myself. If somebody's got a knife and they're coming at me trying to stab me, he showed me how to protect myself and know how to slip the knife and be able to protect myself.
Okay.
You know, he was showing me, you know, real life situation, and he had a piece of steel in his hand, and he would really, you know, he would touch me with it, like he could stab me. And enough of that, like we used to really practice this. It becomes something that we would go in the room and practice with the knife. You got a real sharp knife. And he weren't trying to kill me, weren't trying to stab me, but he was poking me enough. He would stick me enough to let me know, hey, tighten up. And I would have a knife too. And we'd be in there, you know, practicing. And that was combat training for if a real incident occurred. Because, like, I'm going to say about 3 weeks after that, I had two guys to come in my room. And they seen, you know, my family sent me money. I was clicking my card. And at the time, they had cigarettes. And they would always come to me and be asking for roll-ups. Roll-ups is loose tobacco you can roll in a rolling paper. So they'd be like, hey, man, let me get a roll-up. Let me get a roll-up. So I finally told them one day, I'm like, listen, man, my family sends me money for me. My family don't send me money for y'all and me. If you want to roll up, go get me a bag of chips. I'll give you 2 roll-ups. Bag of chips back then was 25 cents. And they're like, oh, word up, bro. You ain't going to give me a roll-up? So they walk off.
Wait, James, were you giving them roll-ups up until this point or no?
Yeah. I had been, you know, they'd come by and ask for one every once in a while, and I'd just give them one. You know, it was just like, you know, you asking me for something, I don't mind giving it to you.
Right.
But I've seen that it become a trend.
Right.
It started out 1 time a day to 4 and 5 times a day. So
so they were taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah, they thought they could take advantage of it. So they walk off. When they walk off from my room, I sit back down at my desk. I'm writing my mom a letter, and I'm telling my mom, you know, about books I'm reading and you know how it is here, because my mom don't know nothing about prison. So I'm writing. I can remember the letter. The sentence.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
I was telling my mom I was reading a James Patterson book called TikTok. So this guy walks up in my room and just snatches my door. He's like, yo, you ain't going to give me a roll-up? I'm like, nah. So the other dude behind him, he's like, yo, fuck this. We'll take your shit. So I'm like, yeah, all right, man. I said, hold on, man. I said, God damn, I don't want no problem. I'm scared to death. I get up out of my chair and I put it up on the table. And they walk in the room and they're like, yeah. And they got their back turned to me. They walk by me as I'm walking out the room. Or I act like I'm walking out the room. And I go to my door and I pull it up and I slam it locked. And they turn around.
So now you and these two guys are locked in the cell together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm just so confused. You're in the cell sitting at your desk and you're writing a letter. Your door is closed, but because your door
No, my door is unlocked. It's pulled up. It's pulled up a little bit. But it's not locked.
So anybody can come in. So
they can just come there. Yeah, you can just come there and pull the door open. But most, in prison, we got a courtesy that will knock you. When you answer, you come in. That's your home. That cell is your home.
Right.
Mm-hmm. In prison, the police looks at this cell as your home. Mm-hmm. And you have a right to protect your home.
Right.
If somebody comes in it, you have to protect it at all costs.
Okay.
So, sitting in my room, writing a letter, this dude comes and snatches my door open and he's like, yo, bro, you ain't going to give me a cigarette? And I'm like, nah. And the other dude behind him, he's like, fuck that, we'll take him. I'm like, all right, man. I said, look, man, goddamn, I don't want no problems. I said, yeah, go ahead. The stuff's under the bed. And they're walking towards my bed. The first one's bending down, like reaching for my shit under my bed, and the other one's standing there behind me. He's like, yeah, I know that he's talking shit. So I walk up to the door. So when I lock the door, I walk in. He's got his hand like stuck in the front of his pants, and he's clutching his knife. And he's got his right hand in the front of his pants. He takes his left hand and he sticks it out. He's like, first of all, I want to shake your hand. So I reach out and I grab his left hand with my right hand. So when I shake his hand,
wait, hold on, I'm slow.
I
grabbed his left hand. Okay, got it.
So I squeeze his hand. You know how somebody can squeeze your hand real hard?
Mm-hmm.
So I squeeze it like that. And when I do, I look at him and he freezes up and I see him move his hand like he's going to pull that knife. And when he goes to pulling that knife out, I hit him dead in his face. So when I hit him and I'm holding his hand, he goes to fall back and I pull him to me and I hit him again. And I keep hitting him. And I'm holding his hand and when he gets the knife out, it falls on the floor. So I push him on the bed and I crawl on the bed on top of him and I put my knees on both sides of him and I sit down in his stomach and I beat that motherfucker until I got tired. So while I'm beating him, he's trying to push me off of him. And while he's trying to push me off of him, his middle finger goes in my mouth. So when it goes in my mouth, I lock down on that motherfucker like a bulldog. And I went to bite. I bit down on it and shaking it and beating him at the same time.
Wait, you locked down on what? His finger?
On his finger, yeah.
And you're shaking your head while you're biting down on it?
Yeah, I'm shaking my head like a bulldog.
You trying to get it off? Oh my God. Oh my God, wait.
Hell yeah.
What happened, James?
And I'm beating him.
Is he hollering?
I'm beating him. Is he hollering? He's screaming and squalling. Oh my God, you're killing me. So he's squalling. So
is it bleeding? Oh my God. Did you bite it off?
He's trying to push me off of him, and he's pulling his finger. He's got one hand pulling his
Why are you holding your fingers like
out of my mouth.
I just want to know what is happening with the finger. Is it still in your mouth?
And he's trying to pull it out of my mouth, and when he does, it gets to the first joint of his middle finger, and it pops off.
Oh my God!
And I don't know.
James, does it come up in your mouth? Oh my God! You don't know where the finger's at, James.
I don't know where it went.
James, is blood in your mouth? Oh my God! What did it sound like? James, what happened? I need all the details right now. Don't leave nothing out.
So I'm telling you. So when he finally got his hand out of my mouth, he's holding his hand, and I'm still beating him. I pull him up off the bed and I slam him on the toilet. Boom. And when I slam him on the toilet, I start kicking him around the room. So somebody comes to the door and opens the door. They're like, "Come on, pig, let him out of here, let him out of here." And I'm laying on top of him. I'm holding him down in the floor. And I'm like, "Close the door, close the door." So they won't close the door. So I holler for my little homeboy, Quentin. So when Quentin comes, I'm like, "Q," I said, "Close this door." I said, "Don't you let nobody open it." I said, "I don't give a fuck who it is. If it's the police," I said, "you don't let nobody open it."
That's how I talk to my Quentin, too.
And he told me, he said, "All right." He said, "All right, homeboy." So he closes the door back. When he closes the door back, I went to whipping on his ass again till I got good and tired. And the old boy was laying there. He weren't doing nothing.
I bet not. Is he bleeding out? What is happening? Is it a murder scene? Where's the finger? Where's the finger, James?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to the finger. I guess the police found it. Because he goes...
Hold on.
He runs
when you bite a finger off, it don't just come into your mouth. Like it ain't blood, like Gersh. Like you would think.
I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I spit it out. I don't know.
You don't know if you spit it out?
All I know.
Oh, my God.
I don't know where it went.
He didn't say, "Where's my finger?" Like, he didn't try to find his finger. Is there blood gushing? I need to know that.
He was trying to get out of there. His finger was bleeding. His face was bleeding.
Oh, God.
I put that man in the hospital. He was fucked up. He's forever in a wheelchair.
Well, now I'm fucked up. I didn't even know about this fucking finger.
It all stems from him trying to, he started it.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
After this fight happened, James, did he ever come back to you and say, "Did you ever find my finger? Did you find my finger?"
Shit, I don't. They got a statewide ban. I can't never be at no facility with that man. He made sure of that. He made sure that I could never be.
I think I would have done the same thing. Like, this man's crazy. He bit my finger off. I would have gotten
a constant reminder of you.
Let me ask you a question.
Wait, James, wait. Tell me one more thing. Did you look around the cell to see if you found the finger?
No, they come in. I went to bed.
You are certified.
I had to go to work the next morning.
There's no PTO. Like, you gotta go to work. You just bit somebody's face. Aren't you traumatized? I'm traumatized. Yeah. We just wrapped up the conversation about you biting someone's finger off. I'm pretty sure I'm traumatized for life.
Yeah.
Did you sleep normal that night?
I understand. I slept in the fucking hole because he went and told the police on me. So, no, I didn't sleep normal. But when I went to the hole, I just went to sleep. I mean, they put me in there. They didn't give me no sheets, no blankets, no nothing. They was mad because they had to take him to the hospital. And they kept asking me the same thing y'all asking me. Where is his finger at? And I'm like, I don't know. And they come in there and they wanted to take pictures. And, well, see what happened. My teeth, my front tooth, my big tooth, and the tooth right beside it came out of my mouth. Like when the finger popped off, I guess there was so much pressure, it popped the two front teeth out of my mouth. They didn't come all the way out, but they were stuck out. So when I realized it, I had to push my teeth back in my mouth and push them up my mouth.
James.
And go get...
James, this shit is not normal. You are telling this like this shit is normal. Like your shit is stuck out and you had to push them back in?
Yeah, I pushed him back in and went to the cold water fountain and got some cold water and held it in my mouth where the swelling would, the gum will go back around the teeth and, bring the swelling down. So when that happened, by that time I went and got in the shower and I took me a cold bottle of water and kept just doing that while I was in the shower. And I went to bed. So
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
The Sergeant Allen, he was pretty cool. And he was like, man, he's like, what did you do? Did you cut that man's finger off? And I'm like, nah, Sergeant, I ain't done shit. He's like, man, he said, I seen the man come in your room. He said, and I seen you throw the man out of your room. He said, and the man didn't move for at least 5 or 10 minutes, and then he got up and took off running. He said, so we done and seen the video. He said, so where is the man's finger? I said, man, I don't know nothing about no finger, Sarge. I said, I was in the bed. He's like, Conley. He said, where you got that man's finger at? I said, I don't know. I said, I ain't seen no fucking finger. I said, look at my room. There ain't even no blood in my room. He's like, no, you cleaned it up pretty good. He said, but that man's finger's gone.
You cleaned up all the blood?
Yeah, I cleaned it up.
What did you clean it up with?
I cleaned it up with towels and T-shirts.
Where do you dispose of them at?
Huh?
What do you do with them after you've cleaned up somebody else's blood?
I threw it in the trash. Took the trash bag, tied it up, and they throwed it out in the trash bin to be took to the warehouse to throw in the dumpster.
Okay.
I mean,
I have one more question, and then we have to move on from this finger.
Before Nicole throws up on me.
I just have one more question. This is it. How hard is it to bite somebody's finger off?
It's pretty damn hard. You gotta apply a lot of pressure.
I mean,
you gotta be biting like you ever. I can't even.
I'm pretty sure me and April both were over here imagining biting. I think I could do it if it was back here, but if you gotta do it right here,
yeah.
Oh,
it's in the joint. It's in the joint of the finger. That's where it popped. In the joint of the finger.
Well, we're talking about if you're biting on the front
in your
of
teeth.
Front of your
like
teeth.
These are sensitive and small.
If you're doing it on the back,
you can bite it,
but not your front teeth.
I still got my baby teeth. I still got my baby teeth in my mouth.
Wait, you still got your baby teeth?
Yeah. And they cut really good.
Why you still got your baby teeth?
They never fell out. I still got them.
Next question that I have, we want to know about your first shower experience. You're new in the prison. You have to go take a shower. Okay. You're smelling pretty funky. What's happening? Walk us through how do we survive in the shower? Oh, actually, you didn't know how to survive. Tell me what you did. What happened? Your first experience in the shower.
Quite naturally, you're apprehensive. So you find you somebody that, you've been vibing with, you've been talking to, and you get, you just ask questions. Yo, what's the shower schedule? How you use the shower? Who does what? So the way I did, I watched everybody, and I waited till like the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes before it was locked down, and I just went to the shower, and I turned the shower on, put my stuff on the shower, and I told my homeboy, I'm like, hey, yo, bro, I'm getting ready to get in the shower. Hold me down. Don't let nobody come close to the shower. So he's like, all right, I got you. So I go in the shower and I take a shower. So, but most people, when you come into a place in prison, you find somebody that you're talking to. And when you go to talking to them, you go to building with them, you kind of build some kind of camaraderie with that person. And that person will, if they've been there longer you, or maybe you shipped in with them, and you riding the prison bus with them, and y'all go to the.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Y'all's in the same block. You build some kind of camaraderie with them, so they're willing to look out for you, and you're willing to look out for them. Y'all got each other's back, until you find out how things are moving. So for me, my homeboy James Jones looked out for me, and that helped me settle in. Now, when I got to Bertie, I had a couple other homeboys, and I just went to them. I'm like, look, yo, I'm about to go get in the shower. Hold me down while I'm in the shower. And they're like, I got you. So, they held me down, and, vice versa, because, you gotta build some kind of camaraderie in here, and you gotta learn to be somewhat of a people person. But when you first get in that shower, you're exposed. I mean, really, you're exposed. If somebody wanted to come in there and hurt you, they can just walk in the shower and y'all's in the shower fight.
So there's no guard by the shower or anything? You're just in there? There's nobody watching?
Nah, there's nobody in the block. The guards is outside in the Salaport area. They're out there in front of the block, but they ain't watching, because they're looking at a 96 inmate at one time, or 100. No, they're looking at 122 inmates at one time. So they're trying to keep an eye on all three blocks. And you might have two guards at the podium and one in the booth.
Right.
So, this is not a place for the faint of heart. If you come in here and you're scared, you're timid, you don't have no fight, you are just, per se soft, you're going to get ran over. You're going to have a hard way to go.
So, James,
if you come in here,
if I'm scared and I don't want to go to the shower, can't I just wash up in my sink?
I mean, you can wash in your room, but after a while, how long do you think you can keep washing in your sink?
Oh, I think I could do it. I think I could do it.
I mean, because you got to look now. Your sink ain't nothing but about as big as a bowl.
All I need is some water and soap. I can do it.
Is there a drain in the middle of your floor?
Understand. No.
Just put a towel down.
You're gonna have to clean all that water. All that water you put on the floor. You gotta clean that up. And
well, then you could clean you and the floor all
at the
one.
same time, girl. I'd be in my. I would be right in the cell doing it. I sure would. I'll tell you now.
Listen, ladies, I stayed on lockup 3.5 years. You got 3 showers a week, if you were lucky, and those other 4 days a week, I washed in the sink. And if you get that soap on you, I don't care how much you rinse off in that sink, you cannot stop that soap from itching you. There's something about soap that if you don't get in there and wash it off, rinse your body off really good.
Surely they do not give that to the females.
It's probably worse.
Surely they give it to every person on the stage. But I'm just saying, if you washing that sink every day, you got to get in that shower.
You're gonna have an itchy ass. Is that what you're saying? You're just gonna be itchy.
Yeah, you gotta properly clean yourself. You gotta properly bathe. I mean, after a while, your hair is gonna start stinking.
I do that in the sink too. Dip it in.
Yeah.
your body's gonna start stinking. So, and if people seeing, yo, dude, don't never get in the shower. What's going on with it? So somebody's gonna approach her and be like, yo, bro, what's wrong? You don't fuck with the shower? And they're gonna tell you, hey, bro, you need to hit that shower. Ain't nobody gonna bother you. You need somebody to hold you down in the shower? We got you. Go ahead and get on in that shower. Go ahead and bathe yourself. Or go ahead and pack your stuff and get on up the street. Because you can go to the hole and you can take a shower and they'll lock you in the shower where nobody can't bother.
Okay.
You know, because that type of thing really makes the block stink. You not washing properly, cleansing yourself makes the block stink.
Got it. And really quick, because we have to wrap this up, James, we have one more question, and I need to know because in my mind, I'm sure I'm imagining the worst of the worst. But when I think of prison, and please forgive me, I'm just ignorant, I don't know. When I think of prison and I think about the prison bathroom, oh my God, it stinks. There's shit everywhere. There's piss all over the wall and floor because guys just do that. And then, like, what does it look like? Can you sit on the toilet?
Nah. Okay, the toilet, you got...
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Here you got porcelain toilets. Every day, the showers and the toilet area, first thing in the morning, it's clean. It's clean. And at night, at 7, 8 o'clock, it's clean. It's clean 2 times a day. Okay, you got 4 bathrooms with 2 toilets apiece. You got 3 sinks in one and 1 sink in the other. But, you know, we keep it clean. Because we know we got to use these facilities. We know that we keep a bottle of cleaner in there to clean the toilet when we utilize the toilet. There's a hand soap dispenser in there. Okay, that's in a dorm where everybody's got to use the toilet. Now, do you have some nasty dudes? Yes, you do. Do you have some dudes that they have no home training? Yes, you do. So when you have those dudes, it's bad to say this, but you got to watch who goes in there. And sometimes you got to go in there and look behind them. And when you catch them doing some foul shit, you got to call them out on it. You got to be like, hey, yo, bro, what's going on? Why are you doing this? You know, to let them know, hey, this is not cool. There's 32 people in this block. We all got to use these facilities. You need to take more care and have more respect.
Right.
Because that's what it really boils down to, respect.
Okay.
All right, James, you have gave us a ton of valuable information today with this.
Again.
Explaining, letting us live that first day with you in prison and all the experiences that you had to experience. We appreciate you coming on and letting us experience that through you. And also, I think that we've got 2 spin-off episodes coming up. One to actually look at the hygiene that inmates are offered in this state.
Yes. And
that you've spoke about. And then also, you've got to teach us how to make a shank.
I need to know.
Teach you how to make a swope.
Yes, that I do need to know. I definitely want to do a cooking episode with you, James. That would be awesome.
Yes. So, okay, we've got 3 spin-off episodes. So, to our viewers, I hope that you stay tuned and look for these videos.
Yeah, and thank you so much, James. You're so informative, and I appreciate you being so transparent and just like letting us live through you because we don't know. So, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, James, you have a good one. Until next time.
We have the tea.
We have the tea.
Okay.